on 88.9 Win FM, the Cheryl Lacey Show, where we are curious and courageous in our conversations. And right now we have our regular expert in common law, Mike Holt from Queensland, and we're going to be talking about digital voting. And I tell you what, if there isn't anything that's not associated with our mental health, that's certainly the demise of governments around Australia and the impact they have on our lives. Mike, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Mike. You wouldn't believe the media, would you, with what's going on at the moment and the way people are changing their thinking. And it couldn't be more important that this digital voting concept that you have, along with the other 5 key plans for changing the way Australia is governed, couldn't come at a better time.
Yes, I know. I've been very disappointed in the electoral system for a very long time. When I saw how Whitlam destroyed it, really, I haven't had much faith in the electoral system, I'm afraid. And watching how they do the voting these days, it's just farcical.
When you say watching how they do the voting these days, before we get on to your approach with this blockchain voting app, let's talk briefly about the problems that we have and why this change is required.
Okay, well, let's go to America, because over there they're using those voting machines, which are manufactured and provided by BlackRock, I think. Doesn't matter which one, if it's BlackRock or Palantir or the other one. They're all out to destroy the whole world and just make themselves masters of the universe. But their voting machines were easily hacked, and that's why all of the voting results were skewed. Here in Australia, they expect us to vote with a pencil. Well, I always take a pen, or when I used to vote. I don't vote anymore because I figure it's a waste of time. But I always used to take a pen in. And nowadays, when I don't vote, people write to me and say, well, Mike, if you don't vote, you get fined. I say, so what? $20 is not a big deal. And, if you really don't want to worry about it, just write back into the AEC and say, look, I went there to vote, but my name wasn't on the electoral roll that you provided, so they wrote it on a piece of paper in pencil. Go find my vote. Let them figure it out.
Well, that's one side of it, but I think what's more important, you've mentioned voter fraud in the United States. Whether we use the term fraud or not, we have issues with the way in which our elections are operated, and that is in the way in which we have our preferential voting system, the way in which deals are done by governments. And I think this is one of the biggest issues people don't realise with the rise of One Nation, is that in order for One Nation to succeed, they will have to do deals with everybody else. So this duopoly that people are starting to wake up to will still be there, and it's only a matter of time before they get their ground back if the system stays this way. And for it to stay this way will mean not making any changes to the current voting system, nor to compulsory voting, which I think we need to get rid of as well. So there's some of the issues. Agreed?
Oh, I agree 100%. If we changed over from the voting system we have now, and this preferential voting is it's very, very dangerous to our rights and freedom. So we've got to get rid of it. But people don't know what to go to. So we have, my team, because I'm part of a team, we have created a voting app, and it's a digital voting app based on the blockchain. So it's impossible to be hacked. And with this voting app, we're going to be asking people to register for the app. If you can download it, it'll be free. Just register on there. And if you vote once a month, we will give you rewards. Now, this is to encourage people to stop thinking in the old way, come over to the new paradigm. And this will form the basis of the new governance system, not government, but governance. And what it means is that people will be encouraged to,
To be informed, to absolutely be informed and fully understand what they're voting for.
Correct. To take intelligent and informed decisions. So then we'll be able to control our representatives that are going to go into the government and govern on our behalf, not on a political party behalf.
Do you think it's actually control? I would suggest that it's cooperation and them, the representatives, listening to us and representing us the way governance should be done. The words of control and power can allude to what we're trying to, what us taking over what we're actually wanting to get rid of. We want a more cooperative society.
Yeah, it's a good point. Maybe I misused the words, but the fact is, though, we do need to control our representatives when they start. If they don't do the job properly, then we can recall and replace them using the voting app. And the beauty of the voting app is that we can vote on any issue, anytime, anywhere, and get instant results rather than waiting 3 years for a big bang election.
I think that's one of the biggest benefits of this is that communities are able to, and let's not forget when we're talking about communities, you've got a system in place where we have a layered system of the number of people in various electorates, if you will, which we won't have time to talk about today. We can come back to that again. We have discussed it. The important thing is that people are seeing real issues that are affecting them day to day, and I think often about places like Portland, Echuca, Swan Hill, etc., not to mention all those regional areas in Victoria, likewise in Queensland and other places around the nation, that are paying their taxes and hearing nothing but infrastructure in the CBD of each state, or hearing about other issues that have got nothing to do with them and their local community. That, to me, is the benefit of this approach that you're taking.
Correct. And my team and I, we've discussed this at great length. When the government collapses, and it's collapsing right now, it can't sustain itself. But when this government collapses, what are we going to put in its place? And, people are worried, if we don't have a political party to vote for, what are we going to vote for? Well, how about voting for the issues that are affecting us, directly affecting us?
Absolutely. I one of the big ones is the RBA and the announcement yesterday. I can imagine, Mike, with your voting app, that we would be able to say something like, someone would put in a proposal and say, when you go for a home loan, for example, and you're told the interest rate is 3%, that is what it is. It doesn't change because you've made an agreement with your lender that it's a 3% interest rate on your borrowings. End of story. People are struggling with the changes to interest rates and so forth. If it was consistent, sure, they could then go to a different lender and things would change that way. But you don't go to the store and purchase a motor vehicle and then get a phone call 6 weeks later and say, listen, we've changed your mind. You've paid $10,000. We want another couple of grand because we think that it was really worth more when we negotiated with you.
Yeah. Well, that's the banking system, isn't it?
Well, I can see, again, that's a whole other conversation, but I can see issues like that coming up that people would be wanting to talk about and vote on once they've got the confidence to know that something is going to change.
Right. Well, and this is it. Up until now, people have been very disappointed in what's going on, but they have no alternative. And I believe this futureplan.earth website provides at least the starting point for discussing how we want to move forward and govern ourselves.
Can you repeat that? Because that's exactly what people need to be having conversations about. Say that again, that last line.
Well, we need to learn how to govern ourselves. And this voting app would do that because you're going to be presented with questions about anything that's affecting you in this country, right? So it can be local, regional, or federal. And we're going to be putting questions on there. And eventually the governments themselves, the regional and federal governments, will be providing questions for us to ask the people and to vote on. But before that, we will be providing educational information about the topic if possible, right? Or at least on the voting app, we'll provide enough information for them to be able to read it and make it an informed decision.
And the beauty of your setup with these smaller communities that then vote for their representative, that then from a collection of those smaller entities, the next layer up and the next layer up, very easy to do letter drops, very easy to educate on a smaller scale, very easy for a representative to be the one who is, or proposed potential representatives being part of that education system as well, where everybody knows and understands what voting for a representative actually means with appropriate governance in this country.
Yeah, and we'll end up with a much more, dare I say, informed and intelligent people, because right now the government has dumbed down our education system. You ask most kids in the street about anything to do with their lives and politics, they haven't got a clue. And people say, oh, we should never talk about politics or religion in public. I disagree very strongly. If we don't discuss these issues, they're just going to fester and cause problems. We need to be able to discuss them, and we need to be able to resolve any issues related to them. And the voting app will do that.
Well, it sounds to me as though the voting app, the first thing it needs to be is let's get educated. And that's certainly something that you and I can be doing. And we've been talking about this for a long while, was talking the need to talk about our education sector. However, we mustn't lose sight of the fact that education is happening everywhere all of the time with all of us, including on this show. So, Mike, thank you for coming on and sharing these insights and the vision for appropriate governance in Australia, because we are educating our listeners right now.
Yeah, and I hope they're thinking about these issues after we're finished, Cheryl, because Australians really need to start getting out of their comfort zone and asking the hard questions.
Couldn't agree more. So it's great to have you on the show again, Mike. Look forward to talking to you again next week.